I'm going to share some experiences with you from my own spiritual journey, which is uniquely mine. Um, that really highlighted the importance of intuition. And I think it's really important for everyone to experience experiences like that is what it's all about is an experience. However, you have to have safety around you. So what I mean by that is I don't have the same spiritual journey. Nobody does. You can have similarities. And I have found people with similarities where I was like, you've been this way your whole life too. Okay, because mine never shut off either. And it's been great, right? I love talking to those people. Um, but I also would say that even more so now than ever, you really have to be careful because there's so many options out there and people have these really strong opinions, and I have this core value of freedom. So even in my spiritual pathfinders class, I don't care your religious belief, I don't care about your constructs, any of those things. I'm teaching you the structure of how the universe is designed. In fact, I'm even launching another course, so after you're done with spiritual pathfinders, you can go into consciousness that goes deeper into more of the science about it, because I got fascinated with that and was like, well, if I've been this way my whole life, why isn't everyone else? And taking people along their spiritual journeys, oftentimes I was like, oh, like when I first started teaching, uh, which has been years now, but when I first started teaching, I would be like, okay, I would learn on the fly. And you would be like, I would seriously be like, I don't know, hold on, let me check in. And I would like go get the answer because I'm like, I don't know. I've always been this way. And I wouldn't be able to answer all the questions. And so, what was great is I just asked someone to come and help me teach it. And so the universe gave me somebody that could answer a lot of my questions, got me through my actual like human schooling, and got me into a university that was more onto the science that didn't disregard the spirituality and intuition, in fact, embraced it and acknowledged it and explained how the science works around it. Because I always believed anybody could be this way. And it's true. But I struggled because years and years ago, I mean, I'm not young, although I do have fantastic genetics. Um, but I'm not very young. And so I was around in a time when it was considered devil's work or being possessed or, all these bad negative things. And and I was very isolated, and I could find some people, but it wasn't like it is now. And I remember being at work, and I was super fortunate that my boss was a shaman. And so I was like, "Oh, thank God." And it was amazing. It was amazing because of that experience. It helped so much in a massive time of need. I was in my very early 20s, and I was at work, and all of the sudden I was seeing like like picture shows, right? It's like cards, like a flip book, or like an old movie where it was done by slides and pictures and reels. And but it was how I would look at somebody and their whole life was unfolding around. And so I'm looking at them while they're talking to me. But at the same time, there's like this whole video screen going on, usually right above their head. And it was showing me their entire life, past, present, and future. And I was like, I'm sorry, what are you saying? And it went on for like a week. And finally, my boss is like, what is going on? I'm like, I'm not sleeping. I'm losing my mind. These things are happening. And he was like, okay, we're going to get you some help. And he sent me to his wife, who was like, we need to shut some of this stuff down and get some control over these things. And I was like, okay, so first of all, you believe in me. Thank you, because this has been plaguing me my whole life in different forms. But this one has to get under the wraps quickly, you know? And so I was so grateful to have somebody like actually listen and believe and not put any of their own beliefs on me. It was just, this is how it works. And this is how you can shut it down. This is how you can turn it on, so that you're not having these challenges. And I was like, and it did work like instantly. And again, it goes back to getting grounded, calming yourself. And so, like, getting grounded is one thing. And sometimes we need tools to get us grounded, right? But then also to gain more control over that and being able to turn things on and off. You can do some other practices too. And sometimes like you can put things in your pockets, different like natural earth elements in your pockets, and then that will help keep you grounded as well. But that was one story that was shocking to me. And then I've always seen dead people. And I remember when the movie The Sixth Sense came out, and I felt so called out. And like there was an inside me, I was super, super excited. I was like, oh my gosh, they made a movie about this. And since there's been so many, right? But the audience I was with was like, this is a terrible movie. This is ridiculous. And I was like, okay, not a safe space. Um, but because of that, sometimes I have like strange behaviors, or I forget that other people can't see them. Right. And so like I've like gone into a room and jumped because I've seen someone there. And I'm like, oh, okay. Um, uh, you need to cleanse your house. Uh, because I'm like, there's people here. Um, and so that has always been interesting and ongoing. Another experience is um, when, again, before I knew how to control it, I would have premonitions. And that was terrifying because I was a little kid. And I would have premonitions almost every night when I was little. And I didn't understand them. And then some of them I did, but they all came true. And that was almost even more scary to realize that it wasn't a dream. And there were some times when I was like probably 10 to 13 years old, I would get confused because I was like, wait, what do you mean that happened or didn't happen? Because I couldn't tell sometimes what was a premonition and what wasn't. And so it made some conversations very weird. And then now, like uh I'm again before I learned to turn it off. And sometimes if I'm really tired, lose a little control over it and then I feel bad and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Um, but hence why I usually will only talk to people that I'm really close to when I'm tired. But I accidentally I can hear what people are thinking and going to say, and I'll accidentally have a conversation that's very one-sided. And I'm like, before someone could just look at me and inhale, and I'm like, I know, I'm going to take care of that. And by the way, yes, this was also done. And I noticed that this has been on your mind a lot. And then they're like, oh my God, sorry, I'm tired. I need to put some guards back up. I need to go to bed. I'm just, it's just easier to not be human. It's a lot easier to just live in vibration and in the universe, um, because it flows easier and it doesn't it doesn't like demand as much effort. And so when I get tired, like those sensors kind of like all shift and I have a harder time. So there's been plenty of times where I've only done it once at work, thankfully, and I was really tired. I was super sick, and I completed my boss's. Um, I gave him the answers to questions he hadn't asked yet, and then I was like, I'm really tired of running a high fever. I just need to go to bed. Um, and but I do it a lot because like the only other human around me is my husband, physically here in my environment. And so sometimes I accidentally do that to him still to this day because we just get to talking, and then I drop my guard, and then I just start being me, and then I'm like, oh, sorry. And usually it's only a problem if he's like, hey, I need to say it. I need the energy to leave me. So I need to say it. And I'm like, please, by all means, I am going to sit here and I'm going to write what you're saying in order to stay present in this moment because I need to get grounded. I'm not present. Um, so there's some stories about my spiritual journey. Some of it obviously still happening, but with intuition, and the things that happen as you go along your journey, right? So many things happen, and it's just being aware of it. Um, and I will say that we go over it in spiritual pathfinders, because there's things that you need to be concerned about and things you don't need to be concerned about, right? And when you really think about it, I'm energy, your energy. You keep all of your energy, I keep all of my energy. I don't want your energy, you don't want my energy. We don't share energy, right? That's just not how it works. And so that helps keep you out of trouble. All right. And then there's other things you can do. And again, we go over it in spiritual pathfinders, but like one of the things I had said, right? You put earth elements in your pockets, rocks, crystals, seeds like walnuts, acorns, um, trees, branches, like all these different things are very, very grounding. I wear rudraksha. I also wear specific jewelry pieces that help with keeping me present and grounded and being human. And so all of those things you start learning on your journey. And as you find like the more you need, the more you can handle that. I had someone recently tell me that they're like, I'm doing the same thing as you. I'm moving out into the middle of nowhere. I can't handle this anymore. And I'm like, yeah, like sometimes it gets to that point where you're like, I just need all the outside energy and noise and vibration to stop so that you can continue your spiritual journey. And that's what I did. And one of our prior students from years ago was like, it's time. I gotta go do this. And I'm like, it's not unusual. Enjoy. And then, it evolves again from there. So hopefully that helps you.